The Brave Little Tailor. Once upon a time, there lived a little tailor who worked in a snug workshop, sewing and mending clothes for the folk of his village. He was always in high spirits and loved to sit by the window so he could bask in the sunshine and fresh air. One day, while he was stitching a jacket, a cry rang out in the street.
"Tasty jam! Rich, delicious jam! Cheap today!"
called a country woman. The tailor, whose appetite was legendary, poked his head outside and shouted,
"Oi there, lass! Come up and show me your jam!"
The woman lugged her heavy basket up the stairs, and the tailor inspected every jar with great care. At last he chose one and said,
"I'll take 4 ounces, and if you slip in a little extra, I won't complain."
The countrywoman, grumbling at such a tiny sale, tramped back downstairs. But the tailor was delighted. Rubbing his hands, he exclaimed,
"What a treat! May this jam bring me health and strength."
He pulled a thick slice of bread from the cupboard and spread the jam on generously.
"This'll be scrumptious,"
he thought. Yet, before taking the first bite, he decided to finish the jacket in front of him. He set the bread on the table and returned to his work, humming a tune. The sweet aroma soon lured a swarm of flies that descended on the jam-covered bread.
"Hey, who invited you lot?"
Trying to shoo them away. But the flies kept coming back, thicker than ever. At last the tailor lost patience, grabbed a scrap of cloth and cried,
"I'll serve you the jam myself."
Down came the cloth. Whack! Then again and again. When he lifted it, he counted at least 20 dead flies.
"Well, look what I can do,"
he said, marvelling at his own bravery.
"The whole town ought to know about this."
Quick as a flash, he cut a strip of cloth into a belt, stitched it, and embroidered large letters upon it. 7 at one blow.
"Not just the town, the whole wide world should hear of this,"
he added, beaming. Fastening the belt round his waist, he decided to set off, for his cosy workshop seemed too small for such valour. He scoured the house for travel provisions and found only an old cheese, which he slipped into his pocket. At the door, he spotted a bird tangled in a hedge. He freed it and popped it into another pocket for company. With everything ready, he strode out, cheerful and determined. He climbed a mountain and at the summit found a giant sitting, surveying the land. The tailor stepped up boldly and said,
"Good day, friend. Fancy joining me on an adventure?"
The giant glared at him in disdain.
"Be off with you, puny worm."
"Oh, really?"
said the tailor, unbuttoning his jacket to reveal the belt.
"Take a good look at what sort of fellow I am."
The giant read,
7 at one blow.
and thinking it referred to men rather than flies, stared in astonishment.
Not every day you meet someone so small, yet so mighty.
He mused, half respectful, half curious. Yet he resolved to test the little man's skills. He picked up a stone and squeezed until water dripped out.
Let's see you manage that,
he said.
"Only that?"
replied the tailor, producing the cheese. He pressed until the whey oozed out.
"How's that? Better, I'd say."
Impressed by the tailor's cunning, the giant decided to stay with him a while. They trudged on for a while, the ground rough beneath their feet. All the while the giant was busy dreaming up fresh trials. Suddenly he flung a stone so high it vanished from sight.
Your turn.
He smirked,
Good throw.
said the tailor.
But your stone came back down. Watch this.
He set the bird free, and it soared high into the sky, climbing higher and higher until it was gone for good.
What do you think, mate?
The little tailor asked.
You've talent.
Admitted the giant.
Now let's try a real weight.
He led the tailor to a massive fallen oak,
Let's haul this tree out of the wood.
said the giant.
Righto!
Replied the tailor.
You take the trunk, I'll manage the branches. They're the heavy part.
The giant hoisted the trunk while the tailor hopped onto a limb, leaving the giant to bear the whole tree and him to boot. The tailor kept whistling merrily. At last, the giant, exhausted, had to drop the load.
Steady on.
Puffed the giant.
I must put it down.
The tailor leapt lightly to the ground and propped the oak as though he'd been carrying it all along.
A big fellow like you and you can hold a tree?
He laughed. They walked on, and by a cherry tree, the giant bent the trunk so the tailor could pick some fruit.
Have a nibble.
He said. But as soon as he let go, the tailor, being so light, was flung skywards. He landed, unharmed, and the giant roared with laughter.
What's wrong? No strength to hold a tree?
Not a matter of strength.
Replied the tailor.
See those hunters down below? I vaulted over the tree to dodge their shots. Try it yourself if you can.
The giant tried to leap, but got stuck among the branches. Victory, once more, went to the tailor.
If you're that bold,
Said the giant.
Come to our house and spend the night with us.
The tailor agreed and followed him to a cavern where several giants feasted on roast lamb around a blazing fire. A giant showed the tailor a bed, but it was far too big, so he curled up in a corner instead. At midnight, thinking the tailor asleep, a giant crept over and smashed the bed with an iron bar. Satisfied, he lay back down. At dawn, they were amazed to see the tailor cheerful as ever. Terrified, the giants fled in all directions. The tailor strode on until, after many aimless days, he spied the soaring towers of a splendid palace. He had heard whispers that the king there was a wary man, fond of surrounding himself with heroes, yet notorious for breaking his word. Wearied by travel, the tailor wandered through the manicured gardens and fell asleep on the lawn, unaware that several courtiers were watching from the palace windows.
Who will it be?
He is asleep in the king's gardens.
Word of it spread quickly through the palace, as fast as wildfire. When the courtiers read the inscription on his belt,
7 at one blow.
they murmured.
Why has such a warrior come in times of peace? The king will find him priceless.
They hastened to tell the king. Delighted at the idea of such bravery in his service, the king sent a noble to make an offer. When the tailor awoke, the noble relayed the proposal.
That's exactly why I've come.
Said the tailor.
I'm happy to serve His Majesty.
He was welcomed with honour and given his own residence. Yet the king's soldiers eyed him warily, daunted by his supposed strength.
His needle could pierce a wild boar.
They could not imagine fighting alongside such a powerhouse.
Never in my life have I seen a tailor so brave.
And so they petitioned the king.
Your Majesty,
They said,
we're not prepared to march with a man who fell 7 at one blow. Kindly release us from duty.
the king was loath to lose his loyal troops, but he did not wish to send the tailor away either. So he hatched a plan and summoned him, saying,
I have a special mission for you.
The king announced.
2 fearsome giants are roaming the forest, laying waste to all they find. Defeat them, and you shall have my daughter's hand and half the kingdom. You may take my 100 finest horsemen if you wish.
The tailor thought it a splendid offer.
A princess and half a kingdom don't come every day.
He mused, then answered,
I accept. I'll deal with the giants, and I shan't need the 100 horsemen. A man who strikes 7 at one blow fears no pair of giants.
So he set off towards the forest, the horsemen trailing behind. At the edge of the wood, he told them,
Wait here, I'll handle the giants alone.
He crept into the forest and soon found the giants snoring beneath a tree, their snores shaking the branches. The tailor climbed the tree, and from a limb dropped a stone on one giant's head.
Huh?
The giant woke, and seeing only his companion, punched him in fury.
Why hit me?
Growled the other.
I didn't,
Barked the first. They dozed off again. The tailor lobbed another stone. This time the giants flew into a rage, tearing up trees and battering each other until both fell dead. The tailor clambered down, pleased to be unscathed.
Good thing we tailors are nimble.
He thought. He returned to the horsemen and said to them,
The giants are finished. A tough scrap, but I did it.
The incredulous riders went to see and found the giants lying lifeless among uprooted trees. Back at the palace, the tailor claimed his reward. But the king, still unwilling to keep his promise, said,
Before I give you my daughter and half the realm, you must capture the unicorn that's ravaging the forest.
I fear a unicorn less than 2 giants.
replied the tailor.
7 at one blow, that's my speciality.
Armed only with an axe and a rope, he ventured once more into the wood. Soon the unicorn spotted him and charged. The tailor stood before a tree and at the last moment leapt, nimble as a cat, behind the trunk. The unicorn's horn lodged fast in the wood.
Got you!
Cried the tailor, tying the rope round its neck. He hacked off the horn and led the unicorn to the king. But the king still stalled. Before the wedding, you must bring down the fierce wild boar that roams the forest. Child's play, laughed the tailor. Off he went, leaving the hunters behind, for they dreaded the boar. The beast saw him and rushed, with gleaming tusks. The tailor bolted towards a tiny chapel, climbed in through a window, and hopped out the other side. The boar thundered in after him, and the tailor slammed the door, trapping it inside. He called the hunters.
Oi, friends! Roast pork for the king tonight.
This time the king could no longer wriggle out of his bargain. He gave the tailor his daughter's hand and half the kingdom. The wedding was celebrated with great splendour, and the brave little tailor became a splendid king, ruling with justice and joy. And that is all, for the moment, till the next tale.